Hi guys. Uh, Let me just address the elephant in the room I spilled. So if you're looking at that the whole time wondering, is it wet? Is it dry? Is it a shadow? It's wet. Okay. Um, Today I want to show you our Sod calculator. Created this for you guys, slash this is already kind of a part of what we have in our sales teams. So I'm going to start at the beginning and then kind of walk through the calculator. So if someone reached out to me about sod, before sod, I'd say, hey, tell me where you want it. I'd probably send a guy out to double check to make sure it's the right area. And then I would go to our handy dandy Google. Let me see right here, Google Earth Pro. You can put it right there uh, in whatever this bar is called. I'm no tech guy. I'm actually not that great at anything. I just love teaching and love building companies. So bear with me. Google Earth Pro, I'm gonna go to it and we're gonna take this property in Arizona and we're gonna say, hey, three timbers, we want to replace this sod. So I would come in, I'd take my handy dandy, we'll just pretend this wasn't here. Google Earth Pro, I'm gonna go to the ruler. Click this. It's usually online. Go to polygon because this is no line, this is no path, this is no circle. And I'm going to outline this puppy. See, I'm just outlining where the sod is. I'm making some assumptions. All right. So for this scenario, we'll say it's 1,000 square feet. I do 1,032, but be easier with our example if it's 1,000. So I'm going to take this area and I'm going to put it into the sod square footage needed at 1,000. In the scenario, I heard rumors that the sod didn't have enough nutrients, the soil was burnt out, so we are going to use 3 inches of soil in this project. This project is in Arizona, so we are going to be using 50 pounds of gypsum per 1,000 square feet because the soil is so acidic. Don't need gypsum in Minnesota commonly. Don't need it in the Midwest. Don't really need it where there's loamy material like the Dakotas, yes. A lot of desert areas, yes. It's just rough soil. Um, if I'm looking at this, I heard that there is a gate here that we can get a machine in. So this on a difficulty scale is going to be a one. By hand would be a two. So this is where I put in my measurements and my main data points. Uh, Then right below here, this is stuff that you guys will also change. I'm going to put in my sod price per square foot. Minnesota, usually we're in that 50 to 55 cents per square foot. Arizona, it's higher at 88 to a buck 30. Topsoil mulch mix, that's what we're using here, 3 inches of. That's 44 bucks and 25 cents in Arizona. Interesting. The soil there that we put under is more like almost just mulch. Not quite, but pretty darn close. It's just kind of ground up mulch. Minnesota, we use a 50-50 loam mix. So that's going to be your combo manure, sand, organic material, blah, 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 blah. Gypsum there is 57 pounds per, or 57 cents per pound. We get that at Home Depot. It's simple, it's cheap, it's quick. And then we have a rototiller fee. You guys can get rid of this if you don't need it, but this is just for a hand rototiller, 18 bucks if we, I mean 18 inches wide if we were to rent it. We don't personally use rototillers. We use hydro buckets on our mini skids. It's kind of like a big, massive rototiller. Um, but let's just pretend you don't have a big skid, so we're just having people automatically put in a fee for rototilling because it's so important. If your soil is all compacted and it's all junky, if you're bringing in nice soil and you're bringing in gypsum, you should be rototilling that in down to 3 to 6 inches. Really help out your sod. So, uh, that's those are all numbers you got to play with. You got to play with these numbers, and then you also have to play with the cost matrix. So the current margin we charge is 1.2%, 120% of our product costs. So For example, our sod being 88 cents, we add 120 cents to that because that 88 cents is our contractor wholesale rate. And we charge an extra 20% on top of that to kind of improve our margin. For plants, we charge double what our wholesale is. It all depends on the product. Sod, we need to be more competitive on price, so we only go up 120%. Our demo rate is 80 bucks an hour. Our installation rate is 80 bucks an hour. Our equipment fee, which is really not needed for this, is 90. We always just have it in our cost matrix, but we're not using it. Our cost per delivery is 90. That's where our disposal kind of comes in, our disposal fee. When you actually look at our delivery costs, we kind of have flat fees of like 120 for this stuff. We're getting it from our actual service. I mean, our actual providers, our retailers for dropping off for like 90 bucks in Arizona. So we just add a little extra to it. Additional material needed, we always do an additional amount of 10% in case, per se, I measured this poorly and I wasn't quite within the margins. It gives us a 10% margin of error. So, and then dumping fee per ton. Minnesota, our dumping fee is like maybe 10 bucks. Arizona, it's like 45 per ton. So it gets pricey. So we have that in there. So after using these, all right, after you kind of make those changes, it's time to kind of get into the materials. So at 1,000 square feet, we'd end up buying 1,100 square feet of sod because remember, we're adding that 10% buffer. And at the price of 88 cents per square foot and a margin increase of 120, you can see it's 11 bucks, I mean, $1,162. You can kind of see when I click on this cell and when you guys click on the cell, you can see what's being lit up here, right? So the sod cost is going to be the price per square foot times the amount of sod we need times the margin charge. When it comes to topsoil amount, okay, you're kind of like, how does this happen? This is confusing. How does it work? So for us to figure out how much topsoil we need, in Arizona, for example, this is tonnage. So in Arizona, you can cover 300 square feet at an inch thick. 300 square feet at an inch thick per ton. So we are essentially we're 1,000 square feet divided by 300, right? We're figuring out how many tons we need just to go at an inch. All right. So in this scenario, it's around a little over three. And then we got to multiply that by the amount of inches we need. That's 3 inches. So you can see 10 inches necessary. And then this is just multiplying the price, our margin increase, times the amount we need. All right, good stuff. Gypsum amount, 50 pounds per thousand. Boom, look at that, 50 pounds per thousand. Boom, boom. You can see the cost, gypsum, 34 bucks. Okay, and then the rototiller, we have a minimum of 4 hours on here. The reason why we have a minimum of 4 hours is because that's the minimum amount you can rent a rototiller for. So you're welcome. Uh, so if you just watch this number here, if I do 250, well, it's still four. Because guess what? The minimum is 4 hours, and when you look up how fast you can rototill about 250 square feet per hour. So if I was to do 1,500, oh my goodness, we need the rototiller longer. So that's pretty straightforward. So with all of that, you can see the material prices, $1,887. You can see our delivery costs are 240 because we kind of have flat fees for both delivering the turf and the sod. And then our labor fees. Now, this is where it gets tricky. So you guys can kind of fool around with this however you want. Remember, every company is different. Every company does things a little different. Everyone has different efficiencies or inefficiencies. So for us, we have a general rule of this. We personally, when it comes to demo, so in this scenario, right, we saw this, we know we're going to have to take out the ground and this old sod. We got to demo it out 2 inches. It's just what we naturally do. Um, we know from past experience with our numbers that one guy can demo about 80 square feet per hour, per man hour. So in this scenario, you can see that we are taking the 1,000 square feet that we have to demo, we're dividing it by 80, right? Because we can do 80 square feet an hour, and then we are multiplying that by our demo hourly rate. So 1,000 square feet off the top of my, I guess you guys know, it's probably close to 12 hours or whatever it is. Multiply that by 80, and then we're also multiplying that by the level of ease. So it's like, is it easy to do? Yes, because we can just do it with a machine. So we're just multiplying it by one. If it was hard to do, you guys can see how much this changes. It's by hand. It's double, right? Um, and we get to the disposal fee. This is math that you guys will also have to do. Okay. Um, we take the total square footage and we divide it by 80. And you're like, huh, 80. Why? With compact soils at a depth of, I mean, basically per inch, we can dig out about 80 square feet per inch. What the fudge did I just say? That was embarrassing. I think I was just having a stroke. I was just having a, we're gonna get political. This might make people upset. I was having a Joe Biden moment. I'm gonna trickle these in because I just really, we're at a point where I'm teaching you guys, and I'm sorry, I have opinions about life too. Um, so basically back to the disposal fee. What is going on here is this portion of the equation, we are trying to figure out how many tons we are disposing of. So 1,000 divided by 80, okay? Because per ton, we're usually taking out about 80 square feet. Um, and it's reach out to me because it's different in every state. And I don't know why we picked to do it this way exactly, but it worked for us. That's not what you want to hear. But essentially, if I knew things better off of Arizona and Minnesota, for example, if we are digging a hole, I know that we can dig out 160 square feet at a 2 inch depth per yard. Down there, we can dig out 1 inch worth, 80 square feet of it per ton. All right. And you can see our dumping fee there is per ton. So in this scenario, we're getting this rough math where 1,000 divided by 80 is 12.5 tons we're going to have to bring to the dump. And then we got to multiply that by 45 because that's how much it costs us to go and dump it at the dump. And that's $562. And then we have to add a cost per delivery because it costs us time to go drive to the dump. And that's why we get 653. Hope that made sense. If you guys have a question about that and you're like, hey, I'm demoing in Minnesota and your explanation of that sucked, um, say, hey, it sucked. Tell me what my equation is here and I'll customize it for you. My apologies. This is not my thing. I haven't looked at this for quite a while. Anyways, let's look at the sod and soil install costs then. This is how we do it. Okay. One man can lay about 166 square feet of sod per man hour. That is what we have found with our crews. So we're taking the 1,000 square feet, dividing it by 166, because this is telling us how long it would take one man to lay this 1,000 square feet. So that's coming out to, I don't know, 6, 7 hours, whatever it is. And then we're multiplying that um, by what we were charging per man hour. Okay. So that is for the sod install. And this is why I said sod plus soil, because we have a different equation for soil. For our soil, we actually multiply the amount of soil we're bringing in. So that's 10 yards, 10 tons, and we're multiplying that by the hourly because believe it or not, our guys they install about a ton or a yard of dirt per man hour with a machine. Boom. It's probably quicker than that. Actually, I know it's quicker than that, but we go on the high side. And then we multiply this whole equation by the level of difficulty. This is machine, so it's easy, and we get our cost to install the sod and soil. So all in with this awesome calculator that I failed to explain with the disposal fee because I guess I don't understand cubic tonnage of dirt. Um, you end up getting your material costs for this project of $1,800 and labor costs of 2,900. So fool around with this. This is definitely a good starting point for people. And hopefully when I explained it to you, you can either build off of this specific calculator or you can make your own, and this helped you brainstorm how to do it yourself. Yeah, I don't know how to turn this off.